Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Vale, aka I Hate Vale, and today I will be talking about Catholicism as an aesthetic. I actually recorded this entire video, but I apparently forgot that I speak kind of loud and I project and etc. I also have I think it's like my slight country accent where it's just a lot of ch sounds that are just really hard to edit over. So I realized very quickly that all my footage was basically useless because my audio fucking sucked. So I am re-recording this. So I actually had this idea for this video because I was scrolling through TikTok, and apparently there is a phenomenon nowadays called Mexican girlcore, or in certain aspects of the internet it's called like Mexican fairy core. I don't know, something along those lines. And I just thought that was really interesting how, nowadays it's becoming an aesthetic. Like every single little niche thing is becoming an aesthetic. But I think overall the conversation has been like, should cultures and religions, etc., be aesthetics? And especially in the terms of Mexican girlcore, it has a lot to do with Catholicism because it is the predominant religion of the culture. And just why so many people think it is okay to use Catholicism as a means of expressing yourself and dressing up and as a fashion statement instead of as an actual religion. Which is kind of strayed a little bit from the original topic that I wanted to talk about, which was why are we talking about Mexican people like they're an aesthetic, especially Mexican women, which is still a video I might end up doing later in the future because I've looked up on TikTok and I found a bunch of really good TikToks and stuff. So point is, I really found it interesting how Catholicism was at the center of it all, and that's why I wanted to make this video. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you stick along for the ride, and let's get started. I also hope this audio doesn't come out bad, but mind you, in the other part, I kept doing this. And obviously that's not really good, so I'm trying to keep the distance between me and this mic. The culprit. Editing Valley here. So since my cat dropped my freaking iPad, I didn't realize that the entire freaking angle changed, and basically you only get a little bit of my head. You don't get my full outfit like you did in the first few shots. And to be honest, I am just simply too lazy to go back and re-record this again, because regardless of the fact that the angle is bad, the video overall is not horrible. So I'm not doing that. Anyways, thank you for putting up with me. Let's continue. Picture this. Lana Del Rey is playing in the background. You're smoking Marlboro Reds. On your bedside table, there's a copy of My Year of Rest and Relaxation and Lolita. Both have been read multiple times. Fleabag is your favorite show, and Lady Bird your favorite movie. You own a rosary you bought from Shein, and above your head is a fancy cross you thrifted despite never going to church. Take a scroll through Instagram, Pinterest, or TikTok, and all over these new aesthetics there has been a revival of Catholic imagery throughout them. So what is so Lana Del Rey vinyl about Catholicism? In a way, the use of Catholic imagery in modern aesthetics is kind of a reclamation of something that was supposed to be liberating, but ended up being mildly oppressing. Heavy on the mildly. The thing is, Catholicism has this gaudiness and this flair and extravagance that actually really appeals to anyone regardless on their religious beliefs. Eleanor Hartley writes for ArtNet News, "The Catholic Church has always employed beauty and pomp to draw the faithful into an appreciation of the glory of God. The appeal of Catholicism lies in the excess: cathedrals, stained glass windows, rosaries, popes in fancy clothes. You get the gist. Catholicism is kind of like how we describe the Gilded Age, where it's pretty on the outside, but on the inside it's a big old mess. And if we look back at it, that was kind of the whole point of the excess, you know? The Catholic Church has always used the media and art to draw people into the religion. All throughout European art, from the medieval to the Renaissance, there have been various depictions of Christ's life. The major difference in those eras is that people relied almost entirely on these works of art to depict what was happening in the Bible because they couldn't read it. And so in these pieces of art, we see that a lot of the times they exaggerate the divinity of Jesus and God and everything that is related to religion so that we as humans kind of notice how much above us they are. The Catholic Church focuses more intently on the divinity of God and thus shows us more grandiose forms of art to depict that. So it's during these times that we see the Catholic Church commissioning really famous artists to show these scenes from Christ's life, such as Michelangelo painting the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel or Raphael painting the Vatican stanze frescoes. Both were commissioned by Pope Leo X. So most of the things that we've seen in art were from the Renaissance period, but there is a bit of a break caused by the Protestant Reformation. If you don't know what the Protestant Reformation is, it's this kind of point in time in which Martin Luther writes, is it like 50? I don't know. He writes this list of complaints towards the Catholic Church and everything they're doing wrong because they were really taking advantage of the people and the fact that they couldn't actually read the Bible. So it turned into a lot of like taking people's money and telling them that if they paid, they could get their soul and their cousin's soul into heaven, even if they did bad stuff, which obviously is not how it works if it does work. Or like if it is a real thing, that's probably not how it works. And it's really just the church taking advantage of these people. And Martin Luther wanted to expose that. It's that point of the Protestant Reformation where the Catholic Church loses a lot of its influence. And we notice a drop in Catholic imagery during the time. However, the Catholic Church doesn't want to give up. And so in the Baroque era, we start seeing a little bit of a rise again, mostly as a response to the Protestant Reformation, as they're kind of trying to get all of their, can think of it more so as propaganda, out into the people so they could see God is out there and he's watching you. Benjamin Sutton writes for Artsy.net, the championing of more extravagant religious art extended beyond paintings, sculptures, and architecture to also include the ceremonial robes and jewels worn by the clergy. For instance, many of the opulent outfits loaned by the Vatican for the exhibition Heavenly Bodies, Fashion in the Catholic Imagination at the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute dated from the 18th, 19th, and early 20th centuries. The Baroque era was the last one in which the Catholic Church was able to invest large amounts of money into the art. The Catholic Church lost a lot of its influence in Europe, but that doesn't mean that that's just where it died. Catholicism continued to sprout in Latin America, where more than 40% of the world's 1.2 billion Roman Catholics currently live.
¡Cachao! ¡Mamita! La Guadalupana! ¡Puchao! ¡Puchao! La Virgencita de Guadalupe, mi amor, okay?
Now the thing is, once Catholicism reaches Latin America, it starts changing a little bit more. First of all, it was a lot of a stricter version than it was in Europe because they didn't have the effects of the Protestant Reformation in Latin America. However, when the Europeans took to colonizing Latin America, especially the Spanish, they took more of a laissez-faire sort of technique when it came to converting them because they had so much going on in motherland Spain that they couldn't really focus on what the fuck was going on in Latin America. This led to a blending of Catholicism and other beliefs to create new customs and practices in Latin America. As a result, we see hybridized traditions such as Dia de los Muertos, which combines indigenous rituals with All Saints' Day. However, when we talk about modern media that romanticizes Catholicism, we don't actually see the main practitioners of Catholicism. At the forefront of what I like to call the rise of Catholic core, it is mainly white Americans think Lana Del Rey, Kourtney Kardashian, etc. And I think the start, or what kind of marked this rising growth, is the 2018 Met Gala. The collection for the Met Museum includes various images and artifacts from the Vatican and features pieces from the biggest designer brands, including Balenciaga, Dolce & Gabbana, Chanel, Versace, and many more. The theme, Heavenly Bodies, Fashion and the Catholic Imagination, explores fashion's complex and often controversial relationship with Catholicism by explaining the role of spirituality and religion in contemporary culture. The museum exhibition is followed by the notorious Met Gala, an extravagant event in which the most famous people in the media and fashion walk the red carpet together in clothes worth more than the average person's car or house. The ticket itself is worth $30,000, and the only way to get around this is by being invited by a brand or a designer. If you are invited by a brand or designer, you're forced to wear whatever they decide you're going to wear. You don't really have that same autonomy of choice because it wasn't really your choice to be there, you were invited to be there. Celebrities reference Catholic imagery such as Joan of Arc, the Virgin Mary, the Pope, the Devil, and Jesus himself. The excesses of Catholicism are pushed to the limit at the Met Gala, and I believe it's the main reason why it's become such a memorable theme. Some of my favorite looks from that year's Met Gala are Blake Lively, Nicki Minaj, Zendaya, double duh. I absolutely loved the 2018 Met Gala theme. It was just the perfect thing. Everybody just understood the assignment, and I really love that. I loved it so much so that for my prom this year, I actually wore a dupe of the dress that Lily Rose Depp wore to that Met Gala, just because it was just like, it was so pretty. And it's just the vibes I'm trying to give, amazingness. When we're having this conversation, it's almost impossible not to talk about Kourtney Kardashian and her wedding that she just had, or by wedding, I mean weddings. Her third wedding was sponsored by Dolce & Gabbana tea, and it was held in Portofino, Italy, in late May of 2022. Now, Travis Barker, her then fiance, now husband, is actually a practicing Catholic. Kourtney Kardashian is a Christian, though. She just attended Catholic school, and to my understanding, the wedding wasn't a proper Catholic wedding. It was just like Catholic aesthetic wedding, which is the difference that triggered a lot of people. In it, Kourtney walked down the aisle in a Dolce & Gabbana custom mini dress and a cathedral-length veil that had the image of the Virgin Mary based on the tattoo on Travis Barker's head. Now, in aspects like this, it's hard to draw a clear line between what is right and wrong. It's like, yeah, it looks cute. Yeah, her husband's Catholic. She's not. She's wearing a mini dress. It brings up a similar conversation that people are having right now, as of 12/12/23, about Sabrina Carpenter's newly released video for Feather, in which she dresses in this kind of skimpy dress in front of her dead exes, but it's at a Catholic church. Now, apparently her team told the Catholic church that they were just recording a music video and blah, blah, blah. It was like difference in communication, etc. But the video came out, everybody in the church was upset. And a lot of Catholic people or Christians, etc. were also very upset. Now, some people say, what is so wrong about that? It's a music video, it's no big deal, she looks pretty, the scene looks nice. And you know what? Yes, it does. But I think just because it's Catholicism, people tend to not take it as seriously as they take other religions. But you have to remember that ultimately it is still a religion. It's still a faith that people practice, and it's still something you have to respect. And ultimately, it's not respectful to wear a short dress to the house of the Lord, Now, obviously, many people took to Twitter, which is not that great of a reliable source, but it is when it comes to getting people's opinions, and they were mad. They were very upset, not only about the Sabrina Carpenter thing, but back to our original topic, the Kourtney Kardashian thing, where they see it as people just, being rude and disrespecting their religions just because they think it looks cute. And because, as previously mentioned, it's Catholicism, it's a European culture, a lot of people feel more free about just like doing whatever they want with it because it looks pretty. But how exactly, here's the punch, do you disrespect a culture that has been known for disrespecting other cultures? The appeal in taking inspiration from Catholic imagery doesn't just lie in the fact that it's pretty and extravagant. It's also that there's less riskiness in adopting it if you're a white consumer. In this era of cancel culture, it's very easy to be criticized for the things you do on the internet, especially when it comes to cultures and religions. Take, for instance, the rise of the spiritual girl. At the surface, it just has to do with the universe and crystals and manifesting. But underneath it, there are layers of Asian cultures, of African cultures, and of Latin American cultures. As a result, you see people with dreads in their hair, mal de ojo charms all over them, or, God forbid, tattooed on them, and Buddha imagery in their house, on their body, anywhere. But the fact of the matter is that people are using this imagery and have no idea what they're talking about or what it actually has to do. And if they do know anything, it is very surface level because they didn't grow up with those things ingrained in their culture. In regards to Catholicism, especially Roman Catholicism in Europe, it's a religion that's rooted in white European culture and therefore can't really be appropriated. And that is that appeal, you know? What can really go wrong by using Catholic imagery if it's something you already semi-grew up with? Even if you're a Protestant, it's very easy to like mix into that pot, you know? And I've seen a lot, especially growing nowadays in the media, as I said before, Fleabag, Lady Bird, blah, blah, blah. People kind of romanticize the concept of going to Catholic church, which is like kind of crazy to me because every person I've heard who goes to Catholic church absolutely despises it, but okay. And as a Catholic myself, even though I wasn't necessarily like super raised in it, I didn't go to church that often. I really don't know what to say about it, truthfully. Me personally, I think in terms of religions, especially when it comes to Christianity and its various denominations, you have to be very, very respectful because at the end of the day, they are religions. But I just think it's a lot practical for people on the internet, especially when it comes to white people, Caucasians, to kind of stick to that instead. You know, stick to what you know. You know Jesus. You know God. You know crosses. You know, maybe you never gone to church. Maybe whatever. But ultimately, that's your people's thing. And stick to it. As long as you don't get into like the denominations that are more ethnically charged, then, you know, do you. But obviously, with anything, don't be ignorant. Inform yourselves, etc. Like, do you know the history of the crucifix? Because I don't think you guys do, and I feel like you should. So, how about y'all Google that? While I was looking through videos and stuff, I saw a lot of memes of like people who actually, you know, get what it's like to be Catholic, and I thought that was really funny. One of the ones I thought was like super hilarious that I would just want to mention before I leave was this picture where it said, it was a meme that it said, I need an American Girl doll that saw the execution of Joan of Arc. And I thought that was really, really funny. And I think about that a lot. And that is my closing remark, I think. I know this video probably was not as informational as I needed it to be. But let's be honest, I just could not, you know. I got some really bad writer's block, and I low-key did not know what the fuck I wanted to do with this video, because it started off with like such a broad topic that I ended up not even like doing for real. But anyways, I hope that regardless, this video was kind of informational and that you enjoyed it, and that you'll come back for more in the next few months whenever I decide to actually finally write. I also really, really freaking hope that this video came out good and that the audio is good and that there aren't a million fucking scenes of me scratching my nose because something right here keeps itching. I don't know. Anyways, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Please, you know, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think, continue the discussion, And thank you so much. Have a nice one. Bye.